Our second architect is the sculpture wing architect. They realized as they built the Des Moines Art Center that they're going to need to expand. And so this is probably the most famous architect out of all the three. They wanted to add on a huge sculpture wing that they could house any type of sculpture imaginable. And the sculpture wing that you will go into actually will now have this huge tape sculpture in right now. So that is exactly where it's at. It's going to be off to the left, and we'll get to that later in a map. But what you're looking at right now, some of you may recognize this, some of you may not. This is actually the modern wing to the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. So if you were to actually look off to the right, you would see the capital of the United States. That's how close it is to the capital. With this, if we're looking at it from this picture, our back actually is to the original National Gallery of Art, which is this old classical building. They realized as new art came about, it really didn't fit in this old classical building. So instead of adding on to the building, they decided to build a whole separate building and have an underground tunnel. So what you see in the middle there, the glass pyramids, are actually skylights to the underground tunnel to that modern sculpture wing. You can also see there at the very entrance where the doors are, there is a Henry Moore sculpture sitting right in front of it. But very cool way to get from the original building to the modern wing. Here's another angle from it. It kind of is a crazy setup how it works in there, how you have to cross different areas to get into certain galleries. It's not one big open space, but it does have a huge open space in the middle. If you guys think back to Alexander Calder's image that we remember, that huge sculpture of his, it's actually in the middle of this building. So Alexander Calder's sculpture is inside of this. Here's a Bank of Hong Kong. Yes, it is the real thing. It's not a actual computer program of it. It is the real image of it. It's very, very reflective. A massive bank in Hong Kong that he designed. Some of you may recognize this. This is the Louvre, which is in Paris. This is the largest art museum in the world, at least to this date. They are building a bigger one in Bilbao, not in Bilbao, Spain, but Dubai right now. But it is the largest museum in the world. How this actually works, that pyramid is actually the entrance to the museum. So you actually walk into the pyramid down underground to this building, and all underground leads you to different floors and different areas of this massive building. Now we can see from this overhead view, it's actually technically in the center of the building. It's a big U that this building is. It actually used to be an old train station, one of the largest train stations in the world, and they converted it to an art museum. So you'll actually see, if you were to look to the right, that building goes at least twice the length of that to the right, as well as the same on the left side. It's the same length on the left side of the pyramid. So it's a massive building. When I went there in Paris, I got there very first thing, waited in line for a half an hour at the very beginning till the doors opened, and I sped walked through at least half of it, and that was the whole day. Like, I didn't even get to half of the museum to see in one day. That's how big it is, and how many famous art pieces we're going to learn are actually in this museum. But he redesigned how people enter this. He designed the entryway, the pyramids, and how it would work that people go underground into this building. He does a lot of modern sculptures, contemporary not sculptures, but buildings all around the United States. His name is IM PEI. IM PEI. For the style, it's going to be contemporary architecture. Contemporary architecture. So IM PEI, contemporary architecture. The most important information I want you to know is he designed the concrete sculpture wing. He designed the concrete sculpture wing of the Des Moines Art Center. He designed the concrete sculpture wing of the Des Moines Art Center. Designed the concrete sculpture wing of the Des Moines Art Center. IM PEI, contemporary architecture. The time period is 1970s, early 1970s. All right, so for this architect, we don't actually have an image. It's just going to be a question. The question is going to be who designed the concrete sculpture wing of the Des Moines Arts Center. So how we like to remember it in the art room. When you actually have someone pour concrete for you, what do you need to do? You need to pay them. So we do a little chant, something that goes like this. When I say concrete, you say pay. Concrete, concrete. And so we go on and on where I say concrete, you say pay. Concrete, pay. Concrete, pay. That's how we remember it. Hopefully that will get stuck into your brain.